All right, going to be doing some mock drafts here. Bill Belichick is now out. Jerod Mayo had in his contract that he's the successor, so this is what we got. We don't know anything about the GM, but there was some rumors that, hey, they're not going to make a move on that until after the draft. So that also means the start of free agency, they won't have a GM. And, at that point in the year, I'd have to assume if they're not going to announce one between now and free agency, it's probably an internal hire. And they're not naming a GM. They just need to see how whoever their internal hires or candidates, will perform in free agency and during the draft and kind of, I guess, announce, the winner then. But yeah, that's where that's where I'm at. I think it's an internal hire probably for GM and then go with that. So in terms of the draft, we're still third as of right now. Not going to really change because, unless we trade, which is a possibility. But we'll see what happens with that. But let's take a look at, the draft board. Let's see what PFF has changed since we last looked. I'm going to do that. So Caleb and Drake. Oh, by the way, we also have the deadline for the draft to declare for the draft. So I don't know if BFF has updated enough, but there's some names that declared last moment, including Caleb. Also some names going back to college that I was kind of waiting on, but we'll get to that in a bit. But the top two guys still going to be Caleb and Drake. I don't see how it can be anything else really besides maybe if one of them wants to get Marvin Harrison Jr. But I think a lot of them would probably try to trade down a little bit to still get the shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. I still think that Chicago would probably want to go after Marvin and, maybe switch with us so he can get Marvin there and we can take, Caleb or Drake at the top. That way still get Marvin Harrison Jr., who, Ohio State guy, works with, can work with Justin Fields there. But right now we're at third. That gives us a shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. It also gives us a shot at all these guys who would be helpful to the team. This whole block right here. Now, Cooper DeJean and Jerry Newton probably wouldn't want to take them because they're defensive, but all these guys would be able to help us out. And one could even say Brock Bowers, hey, we're going to be losing at least one of our tight ends, and Brock Bowers is one of your best players in the whole draft. Even he's not off the board. Now, if you ask me, should be a quarterback. If you get rid of Mac Jones's egregious interceptions and fumbles last year, the Patriots would be 8-8. I'm not saying all of them. I'm talking the ones where he was like, "What are you doing? Why would you throw there?" type of throws. Not like it's a pick because it's a tipped ball or the defensive player made a great play. We're talking like, what were you thinking throws? If you got rid of those, the Patriots were 8-8 going into the final week against the Jets. So the quarterback play needs to be addressed. Now, at this point, would Jaden Daniels be a better option than what we have? I would assume so. I think his physical attributes and capabilities would at least give you an option. He wouldn't be forced to do certain things and, play outside his capabilities. So physically, yes. Now, decision-making and arm talent, what he's comfortable with, who he's comfortable throwing to, all those questions, not sure. We don't know. But I don't see any red flags with Jaden Daniels minus the fact that he's a little thin. But it's a position where they don't like you hitting the guy. So now, wide receiver, we have no problem apparently drafting guys that are way too thin. And that guy gets, those guys get contact every single play, right? Blocking, receiving, falling to the ground or getting hit. Whereas the quarterback, doesn't get hit every play. So I'm not overly, concerned there. Is it a great thing? No. I think, it's kind of stinks that he's kind of thin, but that's okay. We'll have to deal with that. So let's go through the draft. I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels first. And that would kind of force us, I think, to go after tackles, I think, next. Let's just take a look what we have left. Guard. Wouldn't mind taking him because he can play both tackle and guard. Definitely one of your better technical tackles, technique-wise. Kieran, I'm a little higher than I would put him. I didn't want him third round. Guyton or Patrick Paul or Kingsley, I would be fine up here. Let's see. Now, wide receivers. Keon Coleman, to me, is a first-rounder. I think it's hard to pass up Keon Coleman. Now, there could be a run on tackles. That's the one thing I'm kind of predicting this year is there will be a run on tackles. Because there's just so few of them, and everybody needs one, and I'm sure every GM has it on their board, like, be prepared for the run on the tackle. What's our game plan? What are we going to do? Are we going to have to trade to get who we want if there's going to be a solid run? But to me right now, I think the best player between the two would probably be Keon Coleman and then probably Graham Barton. Now, we're at 68 after that. There's a possibility that we still have... Take a chance at Kingsley. Question is, are there more... I think there's more wide receivers that I'd take after. See, like, this grouping right here is fine for me in the third round, for sure. And the question is the offensive tackle, can I afford? Not really. We can't miss on a tackle. And guard / tackle, not ready yet. Right tackle, left tackle, can play both, but better at the left. So Patrick Paul is the better. Now, they're going to give me a terrible grade for that, but I don't care. So we missed out on Keon Coleman. But, Jalen McMillan to me is a good second-round guy. Johnny Wilson being a good second-round guy. Roman Milson being a third. I have Malachi as a second, third-rounder. Is he still on there? Yeah, so I think we're going to go with... I'm going to go with Johnny Wilson because he's at least a Gesicki replacement and a wide receiver. He's a big guy, big tight end. A guy who can play tight end. Cooper Beebe's probably our next pick here. Now, you see him as a guard, but he plays guard and tackle. Has a decent amount of reps at both left and right. If Onwenu's gone, this is kind of your replacement. So I'm going to go with Cooper here. All right. I wouldn't mind Malik. But he's more of like a Peppers safety than a Duggar. AJ Barner or Dylan. This is where I'm going to get hung up. AJ Barner or Dylan. Now, Dylan would probably be the better option here. Yes, because the screen, he can do screens. He plays slot. He can do some screens, and plus he's got the kick and punt return. I mean, I want AJ because he's such a great blocking tight end. But where is... I think I'd go after Ben. We're not going to get Ben. We won't get him at 182. Would we have it shot at Jaheim Bell, maybe? Jaheim's not much of a blocker, though. He's good, but he's not amazing at it. Yeah, maybe. The tight end really gets thinned out. Jared Wiley's in the game now. Not a great blocker, but still solid. All right, so we're not completely missing out. So for me, Dylan's going to be the better pick here. Wait. I'm gonna go with Dylan. I think I go with Dylan. Dude almost has many reception yards as rushes. Crazy. All right, so when we still need to get edge. Still need to get probably a slot corner or safety, and another tackle probably. So Jaheim Bell is there. That's not a bad pickup. There's Willie Roberts and Sebastian Castro in the system, and we're getting him. He's your best slot corner in probably of all FBS. Thank you. We'll take that. There's a wide receiver. Pick up Hayden Hatton. He had a great Hula Bowl. So Jaquan Burton. Oh, and Christian Jones. And there you go. Done. Christian Jones, right tackle. 7th round pick somehow. Crazy. All right, so we got, that was a, oh, probably not going to get a great grade, probably just on Patrick Paul. It's probably going to knock us down to like a B or C or something. B minus. Good, but not great. I'll say it wasn't amazing, but that's also just picking guys that we need to basically replace the free agents, minus Jaden. So now let's forego quarterback. Let's say, you know, hey, we realize that Marvin Harrison Jr. is just too good to pass up. What can we do with quarterbacks? That leaves JJ there. I'd go after Pratt in the 3rd here. I don't think there's a massive difference between these two guys, and if I can get him in the 3rd, that's fine. And even then, if we completely, like, we miss out on everything, to me, Jordan Travis and Joe Milton on day 3 is not the end of the world. Spencer Rattler, I'm not really sure about what to say about him. Like, he's not that bad, but I mean, to me, Jordan Travis and Joe Milton definitely have much more upside. These guys are, like, yeah, these guys are ranked where PFF has them. I like them. I like that. That's fine. I think Pratt's probably a little bit better than JJ, but you know, I think it's gonna require pro day and combine and then the Senior Bowl really to kind of filter those things out. So what should we do? We have the wide receiver. I think we still have to go with Patrick Paul and then see what we get here. Do we get JJ? No. But we do get Michael Pratt. Still got to go with Cooper here. Let's go with AJ this time, right? So you get a nice blocking tight end. Offensive line is solid. We can target Blake, right? Because we still need to get a right tackle. Go with Jaheim Bell. Oh no, we got AJ. So let's do. Evan Anderson's in the system. Nice. Can't target him right now, but that's somebody I'd love to get. Nice big nose tackle. JJ Weaver. Brandon Coleman, not a bad idea either. Yeah, I think I'm still going with Sebastian. I highly doubt he'd be there in the 6th. I think he'll... I mean... I don't know if he'll be a day 2 guy, but... I can't imagine him making it really past the 5th round. But... Alright, now this is getting a little repetitive, because I'm probably going to still... well, we can go Blake Watson. Decent amount of receiving yards. He had a good Hula Bowl, too. Miles Cole. .6'6", 280. Still missing an edge guy. We go Blake Watson. Got to get a receiving back at some point. And we are actually kind of thin at the running back position. All right. Let's do one more, I think, with trading back. And why I still think that's the best option for us. Because everybody's going to want Marvin Harrison Jr., right? There's the idea that you have multiple wide receivers on the field at one time. Everybody can use an upgraded wide receiver. Quarterback, you either got one or you don't. But everybody needs a Marvin Harrison Jr. How to go about this one. Xavier Legette wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm not feeling... Oh. Trade back again. All right, now this is probably a safer spot for me here. So let's do this. Sorry that I'm not talking much through this. Legette is a deep threat pass. I'm not entirely sold on that. We have the left tackle. Right tackle, done. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do here. Okay. All right. We're in the situation where it's good. We're having good problems. All right, let's do... He's solid too. I like him. Mason Smith plays edge as well. Barmore Insurance. Good there. Wouldn't mind going after, I guess, Blake Corum here. We're doing it right. Sorry I'm not talking as much. Just trying to figure out how I'm going to get through the rest of this without... Go Sebastian Castro again. Don't need a right tackle, so... Wide receiver, probably another... who could we go after? Bryson Nesbitt wouldn't be a bad idea. Jared Wiley's also not a bad idea. Yeah, let's go with their Jared. Nice big tight end to throw to. So 2 tight ends replaced. This is loaded. This is a lot, but this is not obviously what's going to happen, but this is what I was wishing we had in terms of draft capital from the trade deadline, where we should have been liquidating. Yeah, it just seems like it's all over the place, but it's, let's just talk about it real quick. Just the names, obviously we're probably not going to have this many, and the trades are ridiculous, I understand, but it's just to get the names out there and see what you can do at specific parts of the draft. Obviously, we wouldn't trade this much. But trading back and getting, still having a shot at Joe Alt at 6, smart move. Will we do it? Probably not. But if you can still get me Joe Alt, and that gave us, 39? That gave us Adonai Mitchell as a plus. And that gave us, unlocked the ability to get another right tackle. Awesome. What else did they give us? 47? Actually gave us both of these picks. Right? Yeah, I probably, in here, would be what we would take. I mean, I took Jadavian Sanders because we need the tight ends. He's more of a receiver anyway. He can block, but he's more of a receiver. Whereas AJ is more of your inline guy. And Jared Wiley would be also, again, another receiving tight end. But that's what we'd like to throw to. That's, tight ends are your key to your offense nowadays anyway. Most great teams have good tight ends. Your playoff teams need good tight ends. Now, yeah, it doesn't mean you forego getting wide receivers. But we have 3 tight ends that are going to be up for contract. We also got 2 decent wide receivers anyway. You can't, just the offense needs so much help, and it's not just because they're bad, but because of how many guys that are potentially leaving. Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson would be your Mac Wilson replacement, and then Mason Smith, kind of your Barmore insurance, but also plays a little edge. Here's your Zeke replacement. This guy's probably one of the few that you're probably still scratching your head on, but he's the best slot corner in FBS. And I would rather figure out either, hey, are we going to get a good perimeter guy so Jonathan Jones can go to the slot, or do we get a slot guy and that allows Jonathan Jones to play on the perimeter and / maybe even move around to like a free safety position? But him in the 6 being there, it's just, you got to take it. You got to take it. It's just, some of these guys are just too good to pass by at this level of the draft. Anyway, so not much has changed in my approach, I guess. I was hoping PFF would be a little bit, I guess, have some more names in it by now. But it looks like they're just rotating names in and out. So yeah, they're sticking to like this 270 something. Yeah, 275. And they're just swapping names in and out on the board rather than expanding it. Lots of names still out there that could be on this board. And, if we wanted to go through it, like 7th round, there's names on here that, he's a good H-back guy, but Eric Gentry, I don't know if he's actually declared, but he's an interesting prospect. 6'6", 215, covers up a lot of space at the linebacker level. Blake Watson, one of your best all-purpose guys at the college level, can catch and run the ball. I believe he's got some return numbers there as well. Gabe Hall's a good D tackle. Carson Steele's an awesome guy to consider as well. Big physical athlete. Obviously, Christian Jones I'm big on. Miles Cole's solid too. Hayden Hatton. Some of these guys that you can get up in late in the rounds are solid dudes. So this draft is still loaded. despite a lot of people going back after realizing that they're not going to be a like second round pick and they're projected to be like a fifth or sixth. Even with all those guys going back, there's still a lot of good talent here. I'm out on Michael Penix. I had him as my third. You know, kind of like, what is that? A couple weeks into the season, I did a quarterback. You know, who's coming out early and looking good. I thought going into the season, Penix was looking solid, but the more I watch his mechanics, the more it's just like that guy's gonna get stripped so many times. So many times. Like, that ball sits at below his shoulder level through like 180 degrees. You're gonna have so many edge players and tackles coming in, just aiming right where his hand. Here's the problem: when I know where you release the ball, I'm just gonna put my hand right there. I'm just gonna stick I don't even have to sack you. I just need to know that you're going to throw the ball. You're committing to the throwing motion, and how long that ball is exposed to being stripped out is unbelievable. And his release point below his head. So he has to throw the ball up. So like when he's throwing the ball, he's not like, I mean, it's hard to do this, but like say you have your line here, right, between Terry and Arnold, Leatu Latu. When you're a quarterback back here and you're releasing the ball, right, it's coming up over the top, I'm throwing it like this to my receivers over here, right? But if you're Penix and you're receiving, your ball's down here and not up here, you have to throw the ball up and over. Or what you have to do is wait for your lineman to create the pocket, and then you have these lanes. Now let's think of a top-down view. So you have your, here's your center, right? Guard, tackle, and here he steps back. You're gonna have to wait for these gaps to open up to throw the ball with the guys coming across the middle, right? But then your opportunity is only in between, right? Shooting out like a star, right? All these little alleyways to throw the ball to get a clear spot, right? Now, if you're tall, you have all of it because it doesn't matter. You're throwing over your line. Now, it's not the best to do that. You still want to choose the alleys, which, that's the argument. Like, it doesn't really matter, right? And how do you get away with it at the college level? The guy played in the Pac. Like, now the Pac defense are not as bad as most people, put them out to be, but they're also not like SEC. Even the ACC, are the major Power Fives. I mean, they're at the bottom of those. There are some really great players. There's great defensive players. Don't get me wrong. At all three levels, but it's not like every single time. Like, you can avoid the best players on defenses. You can scheme them out or just straight up avoid them, right? So that's my problem with Penix. The injuries have always been an issue with me. To go a little bit down that road, when somebody has that many injuries and they're that athletic, and if you look at him, he has what you call articulated joints. And what does that mean? Is if you just look at it, he's got like bony joints, which is okay because that tends to lead to athleticism. Usually those joints are very springy. The connective tissue and the muscles, everything's very elastic, snappy, right? Produces a lot of power, a very elastic type of movement, which if you watch his throwing motion, it's a lot of built up what's happening at the elbow, which can be a concern. Anytime you drop your elbow below the shoulder, the pressure goes less onto it goes mostly off your chest, and it goes from essentially your shoulder to your hand. It is an arm motion now. And, he is creating the whip, meaning like he has a counter movement, his knuckle comes back, his elbow comes forward, and so the stress does come down to the elbow joint, and he's strong there. He's got an active arm. And, that's great until he gets injured at the elbow, and then it's all done. Now, he hasn't had any major elbow injuries that I'm aware of, but he's had shoulder and knee. But the sharpness or the articulated joint, these athletic joints, it's not just the elbow, it's also the knee, and it's also the hip. And he's not a broad hipped guy. He's a very narrow hipped guy. So what happens is when you have a narrow hip, right? You have somebody who has a very narrow hip, but they have a long femur. It's like a crowbar, right? This long femur down to the knee. So if his hips are super narrow, right, there's very little lateral stability. So the hips are moving as he's running or he's planting, and that's connected to the femur, which is connected to the knee. If that muscle is not, if his glutes are not stabilizing his hip joint, the pressure then moves down to side-to-side movement at the knee. So it makes you highly, susceptible for knee injuries. And that's why. He's got long femurs. He's got a long forearm. He's very, he's not a short, stubby guy. So the joints are small muscle. These small muscles at his hips are going to struggle to stabilize that knee, and he's going to have probably more knee injuries, or he's going to be very susceptible to them, or he's got to play with that filter on, which is, hey, I got to be apprehensive and I can't, try to go out there and pull off some, Michael Vick type moves. I have to stay in the pocket and be very well protected. Now, the other thing is he's a lefty. Now, people could say big whoop. Well, unfortunately, you have to start scheming a whole offensive system around him being lefty, especially the offensive line. Now, your left tackle is not your left tackle anymore, really. It's your right tackle. Your left tackle switches to your right tackle, meaning your blind side, your awesome protecting the back of the quarterback is now your right tackle. Now, great offensive tackles should be able to switch sides, but then the offensive line and where the center goes, who the center is going to help support, is now being moved. Instead of he's supporting your right guard versus the left by default. So now you have to go and kind of convince everybody on the offensive line to play differently. And even how you set up your offense in terms of your receivers are all changed up. And again, great professionals should be able to do that, but you're asking that to happen like that, right? Now, if you're the Patriots and you're looking for a quick rebound and you're trying to, take advantage of still having a solid defense, and it looks like some of your coaching staff that's still here, and you think you can, next year make that big, win an extra 4 or 5 games, it's probably not doing it with a revamped offense. In this case, it's hopefully bringing in people that can unlock kind of what was dormant and neglected this past year. I don't think the Patriots want to completely change everything around, personnel wise. So that's why I'm out on Penix. Bo Nix, we can have a discussion about Bo Nix. Here's the reality. He doesn't mess up. Yeah, he has a lot of screen yards. That's the NFL. NFL does a lot of screens. There are big plays down the field, but, last year, Mahomes threw 4 passes over 15 yards in the Super Bowl last year. 4 passes, I think, total. Over 15 yards last year. In the biggest game where you have to score points, but the big thing is not messing up. So when it's time to not mess up, people play like Bo Nix. Ooh, sorry. I'm not saying I like Bo Nix as the Patriots in the first round, but if they're thinking they can target him in the second, that's not a bad idea. JJ McCarthy, not amazing, but can't beat him up. He didn't have that bad of a season. Young guy, takes a year or two to develop. That's fine. Same thing with Michael Pratt. I really like the idea of possibly holding on to, maybe thinking about Jordan Travis in maybe the 4th round. Same thing with Joe Milton. Joe Milton has the best arm talent in the draft in terms of power, at least. Arm strength. He has a lot of screen yards. You know, not incredible deep. Yeah, look, I mean, look at his deep grade. But he lost all his top guys. You know, I think his best receiver, guy who was catching the ball towards him at the end, was his tight end, McCallan Castles. So, buddy, I mean, can't hurt having him around. Definitely in terms of arm power, it's impressive. Like, and he's got good mechanics too. And I don't think he's very fast, but I think he's faster than advertised. 6'5", 235. Gonna be hard to take down. Just gonna need a year or two to get into it, which, Patriots fans need to accept. If you're not gonna go this route or one of these two guys, all these other guys are gonna take some time in some way. You're gonna have to build a team around this guy. You're gonna have to revamp your offense around this guy. This guy needs a couple years probably to develop. Pratt might be one of your best plug-in guys, but even then, you're still gonna have to be patient with him to get caught up to speed at the NFL level. He's injured. Maybe he comes out and looks better. He rebounds really well. He's gonna need time to develop. Everybody else is gonna need time to develop. If you have only a few guys that really could probably just day one figure out a way to win, it'd probably be these three guys. And then maybe Bo Nix can prove us wrong. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys found this at least entertaining. It's a longer video again. I apologize. But I wanted to get that out of the way. In general, not much has changed. The big thing is probably looking forward to Senior Bowl, where we're going to have a lot of these names because now they're letting a lot of the juniors come in. So we should see, Drake May, Caleb, I guess Jaden, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. You're going to have a lot of names there, and it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know if they're all going to play in the game, but it's going to be awesome to see what happens at practice. Anyway, I'll leave it there. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.